Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 29th of August and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll see the articles along with the background and the way forward. So guys, let's start. And before that, I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer PDF. Okay, so in this explainer PDF, all the articles and their synoptic notes has been given. So you can follow that along with the video in order to make the video more effective. Now, let's start with the overview first. Now, here we have the first page of the Hindu newspaper Delhi edition. Now, the first article talks about Congress to elect its president on October 17. Not important article with respect to the UPSC examination. Data protection bill likely in budget session. So, in this particular direction, there is one interview also that has come. We'll see that one. Then in the city section, Noida's twin tower turned into the rubble of cloud. So, guys, basically these two buildings, they were challenged into the Supreme Court that there have been many of the violations in this particular respect. However, for UPSC, the article is not important. Moving on in this particular direction, guys, then after that the regional news, political news, etc. has been given, not important for the exam. Moving on, here we can see one article, Kaziranga Wildlife Rehab has been discussed. So guys, we'll see this particular article with respect to the UPSC examination, prelims examination. Police begins probe into the POXO case against a seer. Okay, so basically guys, the POXO stands for Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. So basically children below the age of 18 years, okay, if there is any sexual assault, if there is any rape, such kind of thing, they those cases are tried under the POXO. Now you don't need to go in this particular case that what is the charges, etc. that have been levied. Now, moving on, we come to the editorial page. On the editorial page, the first article talks about the legacy of the CJI, Justice N.V. Raman, who got retired recently. Then Japan's continuing struggle with gender parity. This article also will see with respect to the examination, and this is actually a very important case study with respect to the gender issues in India. Then the soaps for the votes. Now, this particular article talks about the basically this article talks about the S. Balaji judgment. Okay, we'll see this particular article with respect to the exam. Fine. Then clean and clear. So this article, guys, talks about the recent revelations that have been made in line of Twitter. So we'll see this particular article also. NDTV, the hostile takeover. So basically, guys, this article is talking about that how the Adanis had tried to take over the NDTV, and that particular process, fine, etc. has been provided that, okay, what was the share prices, how the takeover has happened. Now, such things are not important for your UPSC examination, guys. Okay, so this hostile takeover, it is a kind of a corporate takeover that has been going on. So with respect to exam, no much issues, important issues not there. Pin code at 50 years. So guys, this article talks about that 50 years back the pin codes were started. Now the pin codes were started to identify the areas, and all those things have been provided. Then moving on, the concerns around the Aadhaar voter ID linkage. So we'll see this particular article with respect to the exam. Revisiting the S. Subramaniam Balaji versus Tamil Nadu judgment. So we'll see this particular article also. Even on the same line, there is one article that has come on the editorial section. So we'll merge both of these articles. Then moving on, the cyber threat to mobile banking. Now guys, this is a cache article. So the cache articles talks about basically the compute, for example, basically there have been certain entities which are dealing into the IT technologies. So the products that they have rolled out and all those particular things is being talked about. Now basically this article is talking about that now people are using the mobile banking, and because the people are using mobile banking, there have been many threats into this particular direction. The Kaspersky the warning and all those things have been provided. Now guys, in the article, much of the substance with respect to the UPSC has not been given. So I have read this entire article, and the basically the type of content that we need for exam, that is very much less. It's missing actually. Then moving on, self-reliance, third indigenization list has been launched. So this article will see entirely with respect to the UPSC examination, indigenization of defense, etc. All those things we'll see here. Then Prime Minister urges to fight against malnourishment. So the Man Ki Baat session has been conducted. So in the Man Ki Baat, what are the things that have come? We'll see that thing. Then guys, moving on in this particular direction. Fine. After that, India, China are allies of the Vietnam. Okay, so the both India and China are the allies of the Vietnam. So the Vietnamese envoy has provided this particular thing. Now guys, the Vietnam says that India and China are both equally important for the Vietnam's well-being and rise. Moving on, center stands against constitutional value. So guys, basically the Yogendra Yadav, a political leader, has provided that how the government basically is subverting the constitutional values, and all those things are going on. So guys, this is a kind of a political allegation that has been made. Then moving on, financial inclusion will spur growth. So basically guys, what is financial inclusion? Financial inclusion means bringing everybody under the umbrella of the financial services, giving a people bank account, giving the people opportunities to invest, all those things. So the financial inclusion has been provided that it is will spur growth. Why it will spur growth? Because obviously when the people will be getting connected with the banking, they can avail loan, they can avail the investment devices, fine, which is going to be important. It will mobilize savings, it will give many avenues to the people. Moving on, working on a comprehensive legal framework for a digital economy. So this entire interview will be seeing what has been provided here with respect to the exam. Then guys, moving on, after that, moving in this particular direction, new CJS tend to start off with a host of civil liberties case. So now Justice U. Lalit has taken over and he has provided the cases on which he is sitting. So guys, as over the days the judgments will come, we'll see these particular things. Okay. Then Modi inaugurates canal in the Gujarat. Okay, so basically guys, in the article what has happened, basically in the article it has been provided that how in the past the government has always worked for development and all those particular things are being provided. Fine, moving on. Johnson & Johnson's talc still on sale, not important. 5G sells to piggy bank on polls hoardings. Okay, so basically guys, here it has been provided that basically advertisement hoardings and all these particular infrastructures will be used for the 5G rollout soon, that is going to happen. Then moving on, US warships sail through the Taiwan Strait. We'll see this particular article with respect to the IR and all the issues with respect to the Taiwan, etc. will be seeing. Then uneasy calm after the Libya clashes. Pakistan seeks aid as floods claim. So flood have come into the Pakistan and for that they are wanting the assistance. Moving on in this particular direction guys, then we have the money wise page. Today the business page doesn't comes, as Monday there is a money wise page which contains the investing, loan and all these kind of things. So with respect to the examination, much substance is not there in these particular articles. And then we have the sports page where the cricket related news are there. Now guys, let's take the all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, let's start with that. Now every class I give you a GS quotation, the quotation that you can use in your GS paper. So today guys, we are going to take the quotation from the Francis Bacon. So Francis Bacon says that if we do not maintain justice, justice will not maintain us. Okay, so basically guys, when we talk about justice, preaching justice, it's not a luxury. Okay, rather justice is needed so that the preservation of society and the preservation of individual can thrive. So justice is not for basically collective good, rather justice is for collective good, but along with that justice is also for individual good. So therefore we have to maintain justice so that the justice can maintain us. Now this particular idea we can use in GS paper number 2 as well as in the GS paper number 4. Okay, now let's take the first article. Okay, so here there are the two articles that have come on the same line. The first article is the soaps for the votes. Now this article is from the editorial section, and the second article is revisiting the S. Subramaniam Balaji versus Tamil Nadu judgment. Now guys, both of these articles have been important for GS paper number 2. They are important for GS paper number 2, electoral reforms. And guys, in the past, again, we have seen so many of the freebies issues. In that particular line, this is a new development that has happened. So we'll be understanding this entire issue from the very scratch. Now, let's understand this particular issue. But before that, guys, we'll be going to the background. And after the background, we'll understand this particular article. So basically, in the past, what has happened, there is a lot of debate, a lot of discussion on the freebies that are going on. Freebies that are the irrational entitlements, promises such as giving the juicer, mixer, grinders, giving the gold chains, fine utensils, etc., which have been promised by the political parties. Whether these freebies are viable or not, that particular issue is going on. So basically, the Supreme Court has flagged this particular thing that because of the freebies, there are the unsustainable debts onto the state governments. Therefore, these freebies are to be curbed. Moreover, the Prime Minister has also warned against the freebie culture and has said that it is a revdi culture that is going on. After this particular thing, what happened? Supreme Court constituted an expert committee. In this expert committee, the members of the Niti Aayog, the members of the Reserve Bank of India, the members for the representatives from the Finance Commission, Law Commission, all of them will discuss that how the freebie culture in India can be reduced. But guys, whenever we talk about the freebie, there comes a kind of a debate that what is a freebie and what is a welfare. The thing is not very much clear. Fine, there is a confusion. Fine, because what one person will call as a freebie, some person will assume it as a welfare. Now, in this particular direction, first of all, the Supreme Court has very clearly provided that Supreme Court is not going to come out with any new law to control this particular freebie, but anyhow this particular thing is to be tamed. Now in this particular direction, guys, one judgment is now coming in the news, that is this S. Subramaniam Balaji judgment. Now first of all, we'll understand that what this particular judgment was all about, and now why this particular judgment is now coming in the news. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Basically, when we talk about the elections, for the conduct of the elections, for the conduct of the political parties, there is one particular law, that is the Representation of People Act 1950 and the Representation of People Act 1951. Now, I have given you this particular information, I think on Saturday also. Guys, when we talk about the elections, for the elections, we don't have much detailed provisions within the Constitution of India. We have, for example, Article number 326, which talks about the electoral rolls. We have Article number 327. We have Article number 102 and Article 191. They talk about the disqualifications. Article 102 talks about disqualification of MP. Article 191 talks about the disqualification of MLAs. Okay, so Article 326 talks about electoral rolls. Article 102, 191, they talk about elections, but detailed provisions about elections are not there within the Constitution of India. So therefore, in order to fill that particular gap, we have two separate legislations, that is the RPA 1950 and RPA 1951. Now guys, within the RPA 1951, there is one particular provision, that is the section 123. Section 123 of RPA. What is this section 123? Section 123 talks about the corrupt practices. It talks about the corrupt practices. Now guys, it has been provided that if any candidate, if any person is using the corrupt practices while fighting the elections, then that particular candidate will be disqualified. Now the question comes that what all will come under these particular corrupt practices. Is it clear or not? Now guys, actually way back in 2013, one petition was made in the Supreme Court. One petition was made into the Supreme Court, and a question was asked that the pre-poll promises, okay, for example, before election has been contested, the political parties are promising that will give you air conditioner, will give you juicer grinder, will give you the utensils. These pre-poll promises, are these the corrupt practices under the section 123 of RPA? And if they are the corrupt practices, should the political parties and contestants promising them needs to be disqualified? So this entire question was asked into the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court actually gave with a judgment, and that particular judgment was called as S. Subramaniam Balaji versus Tamil Nadu judgment. So guys, let's discuss little bit more about this judgment, and then we'll discuss that why this judgment is now coming in the news. So basically guys, when we talk about this particular the issue of the pre-poll promises, this story actually started even earlier in 2006. Now what happened in 2006? The DMK political party of the Tamil Nadu at that point of a time promised that if we come to the power, we will give the color television sets, color TVs to all the households who don't have the TV. Okay, this thing happened. After that guys, there were basically the AIDMK. Okay, the AIDMK in 2011, they gave even more promises. They said that if we came to power, we'll give the grinders, electric fan, laptops, okay, 4-gram gold thalis will be given, a check of 50,000 rupees will be given to women for marriages, 20 kg rice, green houses. So much absurd promises were being made in 2011. So basically, one of a person concerned with this particular thing made a petition into the High Court first, and then High Court rejected, then he moved to the Supreme Court and had said that basically, now guys, this line is very beautiful. Okay, this particular line you can directly use in your answer. So what he said that state cannot act in furtherance of eccentric principles of a socialistic philanthropy. Okay, again see this. The state cannot act in furtherance of eccentric principle of the socialistic philanthropy. Now guys, what do we mean by this particular line? Okay, basically eccentric means something which is unconventional, okay. So basically it has been provided that such unconventional, such new and such big magnanimous principles of socialistic philanthropy. Now guys, when we talk about philanthropy means helping the poor people. Philanthropy means an act of charity. Okay, so socialistic philanthropy, what is socialistic philanthropy? Particularly helping the deprived sections, particularly helping the vulnerable sections, particularly helping the poor sections. So basically it has been provided that when we talk about helping poor, it is good, but so much absurd promises, so much unconventional promises should not be made. Okay, the government's money is for the developmental purpose, in that poor people are to be helped, but so much promises are not sustainable, they are not viable. Such kind of thing was provided here. Now guys, it was provided that when the people are being promised such as the mixer grinders, laptops, gold chains, jewelries, etc., it is nothing but a kind of an electoral bribe, where you are basically giving some kind of this particular bribe and asking please vote for us, and therefore he said that it will come under the corrupt practices under the section 123 of RP Act that we have just mentioned. Now guys, it was provided that basically the money can be taken out of consolidated fund of India only for the public purposes. Okay, but this money is not for public purpose, rather this is to win the elections. Okay, and it might be violative of Article 14 of the Constitution. So there were the allegations that were made. Now the Tamil Nadu government presented their own argument, and the Tamil Nadu government provided that first of all, the promises are being made by the political parties, for example DMK, AIA, DMK, and they don't come in the definition of state. Now guys, when we talk about the state's definition has been provided in the article number 12 of the Indian Constitution. It has been provided into the article number 36 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, in that particular capacity, the parliament, the state legislatures, the government ruling in that will be coming into the definition of state, but a political party simply doesn't comes in the definition of a state. Okay, this is one thing. Second thing, it was provided that basically what you are calling is a freebie, the freebie don't have any legal status. Okay guys, we have discussed this particular thing, that what looks freebie to one person might be a welfare to the another person. Even few days back, the Chief Justice of India has in his own words provided this particular thing, that the freebie is not a very clear term. For a privileged urban person, for example, giving a shaving kit might look a freebie, but a shaving kit to a barber, to a rural poor barber, it can mean his livelihood. So what is freebie? It is not very much clear. So they provided that what you are calling is a freebie, we don't see that as a freebie. Freebie doesn't have a legal status. Moreover, the Tamil Nadu government also provided this thing, that there are the directive principles of state policy. So you might be knowing that the Constitution, part 4 of the Constitution, fine, there are the directive principle of state policy, article number 36 to 51 that has been given. In these DPSPs, there are many of the welfare and the assistance to the poor and vulnerable people are to be given. So they said that okay, we are nothing but helping these poor and vulnerable people, and we are fulfilling our the DPSPs. So therefore we are not wrong. Now what happened? The Supreme Court in that 2013 judgment finally provided this particular thing, that if a political party is making such pre-poll promises, fine, then the Supreme Court provided that it would not constitute a corrupt practice. Is it clear? But at the same time, court also provided that basically these things are needed to be seen. Okay, these things are needed to be seen. At that point of a time, the Supreme Court asked the Election Commission of India. At that point, Supreme Court said that okay, it cannot be banned. Fine, such pre-poll promises are not the corrupt practices under section 123. No. But at the same time, it asked the Election Commission that you please bring some reform into the model code of conduct, that such absurd promises needs to be minimized. So basically, actually, Election Commission of India came with a small change. What Election Commission came? Election Commission put this particular thing in the it brought this change, that whenever a political party is promising anything in their manifesto, okay, for example, will give the will be giving, let's say, jewelry, will give these much money, they need to provide from where. from where they will bring that particular money. The source of that particular money is to be provided. So all these particular thing happened. Now guys, now what is happening now? So basically now the Supreme Court has provided that a three judge bench will be constituted, and this three judge bench will look in this particular S. Subramaniam judgment, S. Subramaniam Balaji judgment. A three judge bench will come and will look into this particular judgment and will see that okay, whether that particular case was decided correctly or not. Okay, so in this particular capacity, this issue has evolved. So guys, I hope that you have understood this entire issue from the scratch. Is it clear or not? Fine. So these both articles, and along with that the entire background that has happened till now, we have tried to covered. Okay, so that's all about this particular issue. And now we'll guys be moving to the next article. The concerns around Aadhaar voter ID linkage. The concerns around the Aadhaar voter ID linkage. Now guys, this particular article will be seeing with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2 polity, GS paper number 2 polity, and within the polity issues related to the elections and the issues related to the privacy, the issues related to the right to privacy. Okay, now before going in this particular article, let's see first of all some of the background, and then with the background we'll see that what's contained in this particular article. Okay, so background. Now fine, so actually guys, what has happened recently, the government has passed the Election Law Amendment Act 2021, Election Law Amendment Act 2021, and as per this Election Law Amendment Act 2021, government had brought certain changes. Number one, it has brought changes into the Representation of People Act 1951, and secondly, it has brought some changes in the registration of electoral rules. It has brought changes into the electoral rules 1960, electoral rules 1960. Now by these particular changes, what has happened, the government has provided this particular thing that one person needs to link their voter ID card, a person needs to link their voter ID card with the Aadhaar card, Now initially when this particular change came, it was basically provided that such a change or such a linking will be voluntary. Nobody will be forced for this particular linking. But now there have been the reports that are coming that the officers, block level officers, they have asked the individuals that if they will not mandatorily be linking their voter ID card and the Aadhaar card, then their voter ID cards will be struck, their names from the electoral rolls will be removed, and they will not be able to participate into the voting process. So the question has been raised that whether such a kind of a thing is correct or not. Is it clear? So this is the entire background issue that's happening. Now guys, first of all, let's understand little bit in more detail that actually what has happened in this direction. So basically what they in this Electoral Rules 1960. Now listen very carefully. Okay, it's a very simple concept. Listen very carefully just. So Electoral Rule 1960, in that a Rule 26B has been inserted. Now what's this Rule 26B? It provides that every person whose name is listed into the electoral roll may intimate his Aadhaar number to the registration officer. So guys, there is a electoral roll that is prepared constituency wise. Into the electoral roll, the name of the voters are there. Okay, the name of the voters are there. So if there is a name of a voter in electoral list, he need to provide his Aadhaar number. That's something which is provided. Now guys, understand that within these Rule 26B, within the rule number 26B, there is a Form 6B. Within Rule 26, there is Form 6B. Now, what this Form 6B provides? Form 6B provides that the voter has to either submit their Aadhaar number or any other document to the electoral officer. Now, any other documents option has been given, and government provides this particular thing that actually linking with the Aadhaar is not compulsory because other document can also be submitted. But guys, you read little bit more than that. It's provided that okay, any other listed document can also be there. However, the option to submit other listed document is exercisable only if a voter is not able to furnish their Aadhaar number because they do not have Aadhaar number. Okay, so when you have to give supporting documents, you can give Aadhaar number or other document, but other document can only be given when you don't have Aadhaar number. Now guys, understand this particular thing that by the end of 2021, 99.7% of adult population actually have an Aadhaar card. Now obviously the voter ID card will be made of the people who are above 18 years of age, and in the above 18 years of age already 99.7% have the voter Aadhaar card. So basically everybody has to link their Aadhaar card and the voter ID cards together. Now guys, understand this particular thing. This issue is problematic. Why problematic? Because government's wording is this, that it's voluntary, but actually it's voluntary only when you don't have Aadhaar number, but everybody has Aadhaar number, so everybody has to indirectly provide the Aadhaar information. Now when we talk about the Aadhaar, guys, in Aadhaar there is a lot of information that is collected. There is a biometrics that are collected, okay, all this particular thing is collected. Now understand that basically the usage of Aadhaar and the voter ID card, when they are being connected, this purpose needs to be necessary and proportionate. Now it needs to be necessary and it needs to be proportionate. Now question comes that is it really necessary? Now guys, understand this particular thing, that there has been one particular judgment, that is Lal Babu Hussain judgment. In the Lal Babu Hussain judgment, Supreme Court has provided that you cannot insist specific types of identity proofs for the voting. A person can provide any identity proof, so you cannot insist. For example, now even the Aadhaar card also, specific voter ID proof should not be insisted. A person is to be allowed to be free, that he can whatever proof he want to give, he can be given. Moreover, understand there is the right to informational autonomy. There is right to informational autonomy, also called as the right to privacy. Now as a part of informational autonomy, a person needs to be given the complete power that he want to share his Aadhaar or not, because in Aadhaar there is a lot of information that's there, your biometrics, your finger scan, your retina scan. So basically their informational autonomy, right to privacy will be compromised. Moreover guys, understand this particular thing, there are many other issues that are also coming. For example, when we talk about the Aadhaar is only a proof of residence. It is not a proof of citizenship. What purpose then the Aadhaar and the voter ID will be serving? Okay, there is actually the problem that, see, basically there have been the instances that many people who are not the Indian citizens, they got the Aadhaar made in their name. Is it clear or not? So it is not a proof of citizenship. So what purpose it will be serving? Second thing that comes is that in the Aadhaar there have been lot of errors. 12% error rate is there in the Aadhaar, and in the voter ID card error rate is very much less. So if you are connecting the Aadhaar and the voter ID and you are saying that okay, by connecting the Aadhaar, voter ID's errors will be further be minimized, no, that is not going to happen, because already 12% error rate is there in the Aadhaar cards. Then the third issue that comes here is that guys, actually these two databases, that is the database of electoral roll and if the database of Aadhaar will be linked together, it will bring a lot of demographic information. It will bring a lot of demographic information, and by that particular demographic information, the profiling of the citizens can be done. The profiling of the citizens can be carried. Is it clear or not? So by this particular thing, it's simply provided that why you need to connect both the Aadhaar and the voter ID card, the Aadhaar and the electoral data. It is not going to serve any purpose for the practical purpose, but rather it is going to give a more tool into the hand of the political parties that they can profile the voters. Okay, understand this particular thing guys. See, in the Aadhaar there is information that, just a minute, in the Aadhaar there is an information that a person is using what type of welfare services. Is it clear or not? For example, a person is using X service, a person is using Y service, and a person is using Z service. Okay, now if through the electoral roll we can access all this particular information, the ruling government gets a peculiar advantage. They can reach to these voters and can understand these voters more better. Okay, now this advantage will only be into the hand of the ruling party, because they will have a lot of power in this particular respect. So this particular thing will be misused, and this particular thing will bring a kind of a disparity into the different political parties, how they are functioning. So this is all the issue in this direction, and now we'll move to the next article. Japan's continuing struggle with the gender parity. This article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, social justice, GS paper number 2, social justice, issues related to women. Okay, now basically this article it talks about that if the gender norms in the society are not corrected, even with the rising income, even with becoming a developed nation, there still will be many challenges that are going to come. Now here the example of Japan has been given. Now if you see Japan, Japan is a developed country. Japan has the world's fourth largest economy, but still the status of women in the Japan, it is not very much good. Basically guys, just I want to give you some data. First of all, according to the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index 2022 that was released, what was the ranking of Japan? Ranking of Japan was 116 out of 146 countries. Now this is the most poor ranking in the developed countries. Okay, 116 anyhow is not a good rank, and in developed countries it is the most poor ranking. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that what this particular article is giving. This article will give us a case study. What has happened in Japan, as they have not addressed the gender stereotypes, as they have not addressed the gender biases, as they have not addressed the gender prejudices, even after increasing of the per capita income, after increasing of their GDP, still on to the gender front the problems have not been solved. India needs to learn a lesson from that. If we'll not address the gender issues today, if we'll not address the gender stereotypes, gender prejudices, gender discriminations today, tomorrow if India will become a developed country, it is being said that by 2047 India will become a developed country. Okay, so in next 25 years India is going to become a developed country. Till then we need to address all these gender issues, otherwise we might also become a society like the Japan. Now let's understand these particular issues more in detail. So basically guys, when we talk about the Japan, okay, first of all, there are some good basically issues. So there are certain good parameters on where the Japan is ranking better. For example, first of all, Japan has a near perfect score on gender equality in educational attainment. Okay, 15-year-old Japanese girls and boys, they score higher than the OECD average in scientific and mathematical literacy, reading performance. First of all, the enrollment of both girl and the boy in the schools is good, and not the enrollment is there, rather their learning outcome is good. They are performing very much good, even better than the OECD standards. Okay, then in the health and survival also, the women's life expectancy stands at 0.97%. It means that equivalent to the male, the women's health is very much good. So Japan has been successful in providing good health, it's successful in providing the good education. That these are two good points in the favor of Japan. Now guys, understand this particular thing, but at the same time Japan has a very low rank in the gender gap index. We have just seen what rank Japan got, 116 out of 146. Now understand this particular thing, that why Japan's rank is poor. On health they are doing good, we have already seen. On education they are doing good, that also we have already seen. So where's the problem? Problem is in the political representation of the women in Japan. Now in this particular capacity, you guys understand that its rank is 130 when the women in parliament is seen. Just 10% of parliamentary seats in the Japan are being held by the women. Okay, now this ratio is around 30% or more for the G7 countries. So in G7 countries more than 30% women are in the parliament, but in Japan only 10% are there. Japan has not had any female head in the last 50 years. Because of all these particular reasons, in the political position the Japan lacks. Now understand this particular thing guys, that when we talk about the Japan has a very traditional kind of a mindset, where the women, they are believed that they have only one work, that is the care work, and they should belong to the domestic sphere. So women are seen just to be in the domestic lines. In this particular capacity, for example guys, it has been provided that the wife, it is referred to as kanai. Kanai means someone who should be inside the house. So wife have been referred to as kanai, that is they should be in the house, they should not go out. And at the same time the male, they are basically the earning male, earning male who have a permanent job, they are called as a salary man. Now the salary man, the man, it is itself a gendered term. Moreover guys, when we talk about the salary man, now what is the traditional core features of a typical salary man of the Japan? So salary man, he will be a family wage earning man, he will be a male, he will be a family wage earning man, he will be working overtime, even on the weekends he will be working, even after the office he will be staying in the office working with the boss. Okay, so the salary man's entire life is devoted to the work, he is a hard working person. In the same capacity, women are not seen into the Japan. So basically into the Japan Japan, what has happened, there are very strong gender rules. In the Japan, there are very strong gender rules or the gender roles. In gender roles, women needs to be in domestic work only, and the men, they needs to go out and they do work, they need to hard work. So that's something there. Now guys, because of that particular thing, the women, they don't have good employment opportunities into the Japan. They have only one option if they want to work, that is, there is a part-time low paying jobs which they can take. For example, the job of secretaries, job of the assistants, okay. And basically the mothers returning to the labor market receive a mommy track career path. Mommy track career means the mothers, let's say, they now joining the job back. Now see, basically suppose there was a woman, that woman got pregnant, and during the pregnancy, let's say, she was not able to do the work. After pregnancy, when she has given the child for some time, again she was not able to do work. So there is a gap that has come in between. Because of this particular gap, it will be assumed that the women has lost the skills. In that particular capacity, mommy track career path, they have to take such kind of jobs, they have to take where there is no progression, there is no kind of promotions, etc. Fine. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about the women are perceived unsuitable to be leaders, okay, and therefore in the company heads, just 8% of the company heads are the women, less than 5% women are there into the middle management, and 57% of what men earns, women earn. It is called as the gender wage gap. So for example, let's say if a man is earning 100 rupees, women will be just paid 57 rupees. Fine. So this is the gender wage gap that has come in between. So this is all something which is happening. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that today women, they have just been assumed that they can be good mothers, they can be good wives. Because of that particular thing, what happened today, many Japanese women, they are perceiving marriage and childbearing as a burden. They are not opting for marriage, they are not opting for bearing a child. This is a very big problem, by which the fertility rate of the Japan is also going down. Fine. Now understand, in this particular capacity, guys, just a minute. Okay, just guys, give me 1 minute. Okay, guys, I don't know why this screen turned blank. Okay guys, I know that it's taking some time, but just give me few more seconds. I'm trying that what happened here. Okay, so we got the screen back. I don't know what's the technical issue that's coming here. Okay, so again, let's resume back. So basically guys, we have seen before going on this absurd break that came in between. So we have seen that the women in the Japan, they are not have been, their gender concerns have not been addressed, and because their gender concerns have not been addressed, what has happened, the women's representation in political positions is not good. There is a lot of gender gap that has come in between, and all those issues are there. Okay, so there is one question, that mommy track, what's the mommy track? Mommy track means basically the women, they were forced to leave their jobs when they became pregnant, when they delivered a child, after that particular thing, either they were not able to join the job, or if they have been able to join the job, they are not being given a very good quality jobs. The jobs that are being given, they are of such quality that their progression is not there. Now guys, so as we have seen that there are a lot of troubles into the Japan, in that capacity, the Shinzo Abe, okay, the Shinzo Abe, the former prime minister of Japan, he came out with the concept of womenomics. He came out with the concept of the womenomics. Now what is this womenomics? In this he said that we need to focus more on leveraging the women in the Japanese society. The Shinzo Abe provided that basically female labor force participation rate in the Japan needs to be increased, and he provided that the percentage of women in the leadership needs to be increased to at least 30% by 2020. Moreover guys, he also said that more parliamentarians need to be made as the women, but actually the Shinzo Abe was not able to fulfill the representation of women in his own cabinet. Okay, so therefore guys, the deadline of increasing the female labor force participation rate into the political positions, it has been revised to 2030 from 2020. Now guys, the Japan actually happens to be an important case study from which India can learn some very important lessons. Now what lesson India can learn? India can learn a lesson that if we will not address the gender norms in the Indian society today, tomorrow we might become an economic power. Tomorrow we might become a developed nation, but we might become a developed nation similar to Japan, where the women will still not be provided all the opportunities, and still on the gender dimension, India might not be able to perform better. Is it clear or not? Now guys, one thing I want to tell you, that please use this particular word womenomics. Womenomics. In one very simple line, what does this womenomics means? Womenomics means leveraging women in the economic sphere, leveraging women into the political sphere, and giving more opportunities to the women. So the womenomics policy of the Japan was made popularized by the Shinzo Abe. Okay guys, understand, the Abe, he was also popular for bringing a new economic policy called as Abenomics. In the Abenomics, he focused on more liberalization, he focused more on structural reforms, and also the womenomics was important of Shinzo Abe. So that's all about this particular article guys. Now we'll move to the next article. A public judge with an uncertain legacy. Now see, this particular article, it's just analyzing the tenure of the CGI NV Raman, who just got retired. Now guys, understand that in this particular article there have been some of the personal criticisms that have been done. No, not the personal criticisms, but the criticism of the judge in his official capacity has been done. Now you don't need to go too much into the detail in such kind of a criticisms for the point of our UPSC examination. However, we'll see that what are the points that have been highlighted in this particular article. But again, I'm telling you, you don't need to go too much into the detail in these particular things, because guys, the conduct of one personal judge and evaluations, all they are subjective thing. You might have different assessment, I might have different assessment, so there will be a lot of subjectivity. Okay, but just let's see that what the author says in this particular article. So author provides this particular thing, that the 48th CGI NV Raman has retired now. Now he has provided that there were some of the orders of the CGI which were disappointing. According to him, basically the order of keeping sedition law in abeyance, okay, and preventing the further use of the sedition. So basically guys, when we talk about the sedition, now sedition has been a very unpopular law in India. Now under the sedition, what has happened many a number of times, the people's opinion has been silenced. So basically, what is sedition? Section 124A. Section 124A of the Indian Penal Code talks about the sedition. Sedition means that if any person is speaking anything, is writing anything which aims to create some dissatisfaction against the government, if suppose I said something or I written something which tries to bring a kind of a dissatisfaction against the government, then that particular thing will be called as a sedition, and the sedition is subject to it is a criminal offense. Now under the sedition guys, the leaders such as the Gandhiji, Tilak, they have been tried. Even today, the section 124A of IPC, sedition, it is in existence. Now guys, basically in the past, government has used sedition a large number of times, and therefore a petition was filed into the Supreme Court that whether the sedition law in the present times is constitutionally valid or not, because sedition, section 124A of the IPC, it is directly violating the freedom of speech and expression that has been guaranteed into the fundamental right, article number 19. So what CJI did, he put the sedition law in abeyance. What is abeyance? Abeyance simply means keeping something temporarily in suspension. Okay, temporarily keeping some things in the suspension. So you will not be allowing the use of something for a temporary period. So the sedition was kept in abeyance, which is good thing that actually happened. Now guys, recently he also brought some judgment onto the Benami Transaction Act. Now this particular issue we have discussed just last week also. We have seen that Benami Act. First of all, what is the Benami? Basically guys, sometimes people have brought the Benami properties. Now what's the issue of this Benami property? Let's suppose Mr. X has a lot of money. Mr. X has a lot of money, and this money is actually a black money. Black money means that he had earned money but had not declared that money to the government, had not paid taxes on this particular money. So there's a lot of black money that he had earned. Now guys, if he used this particular money to buy land, to buy properties, he might come into the eyeballs. The government attention might come on this particular person that okay, how he is earning so much of the properties. So rather earning all the properties in his name, what he'll do, he will be buying the properties into the different people's name. Actually, for example, there is Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D, Mr. E. Likewise, in all these people's name, he will buy the property. He will one who will give the orders. Registry will be in the name of these people, but actually he will be the one who is holding these properties actually. So these transactions are called as the Benami transactions. Now the Benami transactions, they are to be prohibited, and for that we have the Benami Transaction Prohibition Act. Now guys, whether this Benami law will be coming retrospectively, for that particular thing there was a kind of a petition that was filed in Supreme Court. Retrospectively means can from backdoor date this particular law can come in existence or not. So the Supreme Court provided that no, it will not be coming from the back date. Okay, so that was the issue. But at the same time, it has been said that the CJI did not address some of very important issues that were there. For example, electoral bond issue. Now guys, what are the electoral bonds? So electoral bond scheme was brought few years back by the government. Under the electoral bond, what can be done? Now for example, I want to donate money to a political party. Electoral bonds. Okay, let's say I want to donate some money to a political party, XYZ political party. Now what I can do, I can go to a bank, for example the State Bank of India. In the State Bank of India, I can buy an electoral bond. And this electoral bond can be given to this particular political party, and this political party will deposit this electoral bond into the bank, and they will get the money in exchange of that. So guys, let's say you have some coupon. Okay, that coupon, let's say, have some monetary value. I'll give you that coupon, you can encash that coupon, let's say you can redeem that coupon. In that way, there are electoral bonds which can be bought by the people. Corporate houses can be given to the electoral parties, and they can cash those electoral bonds. Now guys, these electoral bonds can be given anonymously. I can give electoral bond and I will not be telling my identity. Even onto the electoral bond, a person's identity is not presented. So anonymously they can be given. Now basically the political parties, when they say that okay, how much money they got in donations, they'll say that okay, we got 100 crore rupees in donation. Who gave you 100 crore rupees? They'll say that we don't know, because those were the anonymous. So in the electoral bonds, anonymous donations can be given. Now basically it was said that by these anonymous donations, a lot of black money will come. So therefore the legality and constitutionality of electoral bond was there. Then the Citizenship Amendment Act that came, because of which there was a lot of riots also that happened into the Delhi. So these Citizenship Amendment Act, then Article 370 got diluted and the status of Jammu and Kashmir got changed. Then the hijab ban on the schools, reservation of EWS. Okay, 10% reservation was given to the EWS. Okay, then Aadhaar amendments. Now all these questions were raised. Their question was raised onto the Pegasus. Okay, now these particular questions have not been addressed properly, and up till now these particular judgments have not been disposed. Now guys, the Pegasus committee's report have not been revealed completely. So because of all these particular things, it has been said that the CGI has not addressed a lot of things which was expected. Moreover, guys, it has been provided that there have been certain bright spots. For example, when he took CGI, there was a 22-month deadlock onto the collegium recommendations. Now, you might be knowing this particular thing, that there is a collegium. The collegium only recommends the judges for the High Court as well as Supreme Court. So, from last 22 months, the collegium recommendations were not being taken up. Now, when he came, what happened? He ensured 11 appointments to the Supreme Court. In those 11 appointments, 9 judges were appointed in one go, which is a very big thing. It is a huge thing. 200 appointments have been made to the High Courts during his tenure. Moreover, guys, basically, Justice Raman also. Justice B.V. Nagaratna, who became the Supreme Court judge, now she will become the first female Chief Justice in 2027. So for that particular thing also, the Chief Justice was very much instrumental. So there have been certain good things, there have been certain things which were not properly addressed. Okay, so these are all the issues that have been provided. However, you don't need to go too much in detail and criticizing one particular judge in particular. Okay, so that is something which is you need to be careful about. So that's all about this particular article, guys. And now we'll move to the next article. Clean and clear. So basically, guys, this particular article we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 2. Issues related to the privacy. Threats to freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so under all these particular headings, we'll see this particular article. So guys, before going in this particular article, little bit of a background what has happened. So from the past few days, the Twitter and the government, they are Twitter and government, they are coming lot into the news because they are related in a kind of a nexus that has been alleged. So recently what has happened, one of a whistleblower in the USA, whistleblower is a person who tells that something wrong is going in a corporate, in a company, or in an organization. So one a whistleblower in the USA, he had made his statement to the US government and has provided this particular thing that the Indian government in the past has forced the Twitter to hire specific individuals who were the government agents. It has been provided that the Twitter is being forced by the government that they should hire some people. Who are these people? These people are the government agents. They should be hired by the Twitter. Now, first of all, basically it has been made by this particular whistleblower that in Twitter there are a lot of flaws. There are a lot of design flaws in the Twitter's design. It has been provided that many times people, they have a lot of accessibility of the confidential data. Safeguards are not there into the Twitter. So basically the Indian government forced that Twitter should hire specific government agents, and because I told you Twitter had basic architectural flaws, these people will have the access to vast amount of Twitter sensitive data. Now understand this particular thing, that into the past there have been the allegations that have been made against the government, that government is not at all sympathetic, government is not at all allowing the dissent against itself on the Twitter. And in that capacity, if government will get the hold of the Twitter's data, government will be using it for their own advantage. So therefore it has been said that neither the Twitter has the complete safeguards and government is misusing the Twitter also. That is the thing that was provided. Now guys, understand in this particular allegation there is no clarity that what agent he was referring to. Understand guys this particular thing, that recently the IT new rules came, and in that particular thing government has also asked that the social media, they need to hire a grievance officer. Who will be the grievance officer? This grievance officer will be the person who will be disposing the complaints of the people if they have any complaint towards the social media. Let's say on the Twitter your some photograph is going viral. Now you have a problem with that and you ask and let's say you want to remove that photograph from the Twitter. So you can make that application to the grievance officer. So their provision of the grievance officer was recently added into the IT rules recently by the government. So basically this officer that the government is asking them to hire could be this grievance officer also. So whether they are talking about the grievance officer or whether they are talking about any other kind of an officer, this particular thing has not been cleared up till now. But guys, the two things are coming for sure is that Twitter has a lot of flaws, and by that particular flaws, a lot of information could be leaked. Moreover, guys, in the past there have been many of the allegations that the government had tried to ask some confidential information from the Twitter. So in that particular capacity also, there could be a little bit of truth that the government might have asked such kind of a thing. So guys, anyhow, basically these social media intermediaries, these social media giants, when they are handling the complex privacy and the information, they need to be little bit more careful about these particular issues. So that's all guys about this particular entire article. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to the next article. Data protection bill likely in the budget session. And there is one more article, working on a comprehensive legal framework for digital economy. Now both of these articles are the continuation of the same article only. And this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues of privacy. So guys, there are a lot of articles today that concern the topic of privacy. So privacy actually is a very important topic this year as well as the next year examination. So everybody giving the this year paper, that is the 2023 paper, need to be very, very careful. Now, but before going in this particular article, little bit of a background. So guys, the background goes like this, that number one, there was the Puttaswamy judgment. Now Puttaswamy judgment, first of all, recognized that the right to privacy is a fundamental right contained in the article number 21. Then second step, what happened? Government constituted B.N. Shri Krishna committee. This B.N. Shri Krishna committee was asked that please suggest the data protection framework, that how the individual's data can be protected. Then what happened? On the basis of the B.N. Shri Krishna committee's recommendation, personal data protection bill was brought into the parliament by the government. And now latest what has happened, this personal data protection bill that was brought into the parliament, it has now been withdrawn. Why it has been withdrawn? Because there was a lot of criticism that was coming on this particular personal data protection bill. The criticism was like this, that government had got a lot of power, that government might not adhere to the people's right to privacy. It could dilute the people's right to privacy on many of the occasions that particular thing was provided. For example, guys, there was a ground of public order that was added in this personal data protection bill. It means that if public order will be disturbed, government might not share some information with the individuals. Government might use individuals' private information for its own advantage. All these particular issues came. So therefore, it was criticized that the PDP bill has not addressed all the things. Even the B.N. Shri Krishna committee safeguards that were there. For example, guys, there was a data protection authority that was mentioned. The data protection authority was a specific organization which will make sure that the data is not being compromised. Is it clear or not? So data protection authority was there. Now B.N. Shri Krishna committee provided that in this data protection authority, there needs to be a judicial oversight. Okay. But the government bill did not mention any judicial oversight into the data protection authority. Even into this data protection authority, all the members that were there, they were appointed by the government. So therefore, this bill has now been rolled back. And now guys, in this particular capacity, there is this interview that has come. Now the interview is of the Union Minister of Railways, Communication, Electronics and Information Technology. So the Union Minister has given his interview and he has provided that government is working a lot number of things. So he had provided that government is bringing the overarching regulations, government is bringing certain bills which will try to solve the problem of privacy, which will provide people connectivity. People's digital rights will be restored back. Okay, so people's digital rights will be restored back. So there are certain bills that are coming in this particular direction. Now what he has provided? He has provided that first of all, government will be bringing the new telecom bill. Now presently we have the Telecom Act of 1885, 1930. Now these bills or these telecom acts are very old acts. Okay, now guys, with the coming of the 5G technologies, with the usage of telecom in many of such kind of services, using of telecom in providing the internet connectivity, etc., we need a new telecom bill. So a new telecom bill will come which will replace the acts of 1885 and 1930. Now this particular bill is into the stage of drafting. This will come. Then secondly, it has been provided that new data protection bill will come. So we have seen that the personal data protection bill has been rolled back. So in that place, a new data protection bill will also come. So that's the thing. And then the third thing that they have provided is that a new Digital India Act will also come. A new Digital India Act. Now what is this Digital India Act? This Digital India Act will replace the IT Act of 2000. Now guys, we have the IT Act of 2000 which deals with the information technologies, sharing of communication information through the mean of internet. All these things are dealt under the IT Act. Now guys, the IT Act of 2000 has been controversial also at many number of times. For example, you might have heard about the section 66A of the IT Act. Now this section 66A of the IT Act was declared as unconstitutional into the Shreya Singhal case. It was declared as unconstitutional into the Shreya Singhal case. Now what was this section 66A? In section 66A, it was provided that a person, if he had shared some information through the medium of internet, and if that particular information might impact the public order, then that particular person can be arrested. So basically what had happened, so that particular section 66A actually curtailed the people's right to speech and expression. Let's say I am writing something onto the internet, on my Twitter, on my Facebook, okay, and you think that it is impacting public order, you can arrest me. That is obviously going against the spirit of article number 19 of the Constitution. So this section 66A was declared as unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in the Shreya Singhal judgment. Then there are many other sections, for example section 69 and many other sections which have been controversial into the past. So basically this Digital India Act, okay, just a minute, I will use a different color pen so that you can understand this thing. So basically what will happen, this Digital India Act will come, and this Digital India Act will replace this particular IT Act of 2000. Okay, then guys, after that it has been provided that National Data Framework, okay, National Data Framework is also being signed. Now this National Data Framework will be talking about the cyber security networks. It will be talking about the cyber security networks. Fine. So these are all the things that are coming. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that basically it has been provided that actually government is working to make sure that there is accessible, that government is working to make sure that there is accessible, inclusive and equitable structure. Fine, everybody needs to get the access of information. Nobody will be denied information on the flimsy ground. Okay, this is something that is provided. Moreover, at the same time, government is coming out with such a framework where the citizen can very conveniently give the information to data on the basis of their consent. Okay, only if I want, I can give my information to the government, I can give data to the government, and government will be using that particular data for making better policies, for making better kind of legislations. Fine, so this is something that the government is focusing on. Moreover, at the same time, fine, government is also focusing that the implementation of all the principles, data protection framework, people's right to privacy into the modern times will be taken care of. So this is something that has been provided. Okay, so guys, these are all the laws that will be coming, okay, in few months of time. Fine, now understand this particular thing, guys, that as these particular issues will be coming, we'll be seeing them in more detail. Up till now, there is no information that what will be the provisions of this particular bill. Government has just provided that they will come out with these particular laws. Now he has also provided some information with respect to the developments going on in the railways. So basically 50 railway stations have been totally been redeveloped to the world class standards. We are getting new generation of trains, for example the Vande Bharat train, which have the speed of 180 km per hour. Okay, in this particular capacity, government is working in all these particular kind of a directions. Okay, so basically new engines, new technologies. Fine, after that the mainline electrical multiple unit trains, demo trains, diesel electric multiple unit trains, all these particular things government is working upon. Okay, so this is now, however, you don't need to go too much into such kind of a technical and hairline details for our examination. No need to go too much in detail. So guys, all these particular developments are going on into the backdoor curtains. Fine, so these bills are very important. When they will come, we'll see them. So that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. To boost self-reliance, Rajnath releases third indigenization list. Now this article will see with respect to GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, indigenization of defense. Indigenization of defense. Okay, GS paper number 3. Now before going in this particular article, guys, there is a sum of a background that I would like to tell you, not provided in this particular article, but this background is very much important in order to understand this particular article. First of all, what do we mean by this particular word indigenization? What do we mean by this word indigenization? So basically, indigenization simply means the capability of developing and producing the defense equipment within the country for the dual purpose. What are the dual purpose? Number one, to achieve self-reliance, and number two, reduce the burden of imports. Now understand this particular thing. Guys, when we talk about India is going to be the next superpower. And when India is going to be the next superpower, India needs the indigenous capabilities into the defense. Today, guys, according to the CIPRI report, according to the Stockholm Institute of Peace and Research, CIPRI Institute, now CIPRI, it is a Stockholm based organization. According to it, India is one of the largest importer of the defense weaponry, and we are importing from the countries, we are dependent on to the countries such as the US, Israel, Russia, etc. Now in this particular capacity, when we are import dependent, we cannot become a hard superpower. So therefore we need to have our own indigenous capabilities, number one. Number two, it has been provided that actually when we are importing these many of the weaponaries, what is happening? We need to use a lot of foreign exchange. Guys, a lot of trade deficit is created. Now obviously, see, India's exports have been increasing into the past few years, but still we import much more than our exports. So a lot of trade deficit is there, and in that capacity, import of the weapons creates an additional burden. Our forex is depleted, our dependence is increased. So therefore we need to develop the indigenization capabilities, that is the weapons needs to be developed in India so that we can use it for our own self, as well as we can export themselves these weapons to the other countries. So guys, India can become an exporting nation of the weapons, as Israel is all about. Fine. So this is something that we need to focus upon. Now in that particular capacity, guys, in the past there has been one particular committee, that is the Dhirendra Singh committee. Now this Dhirendra Singh committee has recommended the Defence Procurement Procedure 2016. It replaced the Defence Procurement Policy of 2013. Now under this Defence Procurement Procedure or the Defence Procurement Policy of 2016, government basically provided that certain items are to be developed in India only, they have to be procured in India only. So basically one category, that is the Buy Indian IDDM, was added. What is this Buy Indian IDDM? It means IDDM, it stands for indigenously designed, developed and manufactured. Okay, so when you are procuring, let's say a gun, you are procuring some kind of inputs, make sure that they are designed in India, they are manufactured in India, they are developed in India. So this particular thing was added. Now guys, understand, after these two developments, what happened? In 2020, government announced the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. And under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, government also announced that the Atmanirbharta even in the defense is to be achieved. And what was provided? It was provided that we need to procure the weapons indigenously. And in 2020, therefore, one more development happened. What development happened? Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020 was designed. Defense Acquisition Procedure of 2020 was provided. Now, what is this Defense Acquisition Procedure? Defense Acquisition Procedure of 2020. Now guys, as in line with this Defense Acquisition Procedure, government issues a list of the government issues indigenization list. What is this indigenization list? Government will tell that okay, these many components cannot be imported from the outside countries. These things are to be procured within India only. There are the defense manufacturers, guys. For example, the Tatas are doing a lot of innovation. Tatas are manufacturing a lot of components. Then guys, we have the PSUs. Okay, we have the PSUs, we have the ordinance units. Okay, there are both public sector units are there, government owned units are there, as well as the private units are there. Both are working on the manufacturing of the defense weaponry. So certain items you have to procure from them only. That is the indigenization list. Now guys, what has happened? Again, read this particular heading and you will get a lot more idea. So basically, Defense Minister has released the third indigenization list. It means earlier two lists have been released. Now guys, 780 crucial equipments can be procured from Indian entities only, the public entities or the private entities. Now guys, earlier also the 2500 items list have been released, which can be procured within country only. So basically, now guys, if you know this particular background that we have discussed, okay, so first of all you need to know this particular background. After knowing this particular background, basically this particular article is just a one-line article. What is the article? Article says that we have come out with the third indigenization list. In that list, 780 items have been mentioned. Now this number is not important, that 780 or 760. No, that number is not important. Nor you don't need to go and read the items that have been there, because these 780 items you can't even remember, you can't even read. So just you need to understand that why this indigenization. You need to understand that first of all, why this, what is the role of this particular indigenization, okay, what is the background of this indigenization, how this indigenization is helping us. And in that capacity guys, please, I will highly be advising you download this particular PDF and read all these points that we have already discussed. Fine. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so Prime Minister urges people to join fight against malnourishment. So basically guys, this particular article we can use in both GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3 in the specific headings. Fine, I'll tell you as we'll discuss this particular article can be discussed. Now what is this particular article all about? First of all, you need to understand this. So basically guys, the Prime Minister has addressed the nation in his Man Ki Baat. Okay, fine. So basically Prime Minister has addressed the nation in his monthly radio broadcast, that is Man Ki Baat, and in the Man Ki Baat he had basically given certain kind of references. So these references will see that what he has talked about. Okay, so therefore we'll be seeing this particular article. Now first, what he had said, the Prime Minister provided this particular thing, that there is Amrit Dhara. What is Dhara? Amrit Dhara means that the flow of nectar. So Prime Minister had said this particular thing, that we are celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the 75 years of Indian independence we are celebrating. Next 25 years they are going to be Amrit Kal. Next 25 years are going to be the Amrit Kal. In this Amrit Kal, a lot has to be achieved, and right now there is Amrit Dhara, that is the nectar. Okay, that is the flow of nectar is going on. The Prime Minister simply says this thing, that everybody is getting the fruits of their development, everybody is happy, and this is the Amrit Dhara that he has talked about. Then guys, the Prime Minister has provided that this particular thing, that the better use of technology and public participation has become important for the Poshan Abhiyan. Okay, has become important for the Poshan Abhiyan. Now first of all, understand that what do we mean by the Poshan Abhiyan. So Poshan Abhiyan. Okay, so guys, Poshan Abhiyan, it stands for the Prime Minister's overarching mission on hunger and nutritional security. Listen this particular thing, that Poshan Abhiyan, the government is specifically focusing on providing the focusing onto the health, focusing onto the hunger of the children, of the mothers. Is it clear? So basically Poshan Abhiyan, it is called also as the National Nutrition Mission. So the Poshan Abhiyan, where we need to eradicate the hunger, it has become more effective by the usage of the technology. For example, you might have heard the name of the Poshan Tracker. You might have heard the name of the Poshan Tracker. Now in this Poshan Tracker, on the real-time basis, it can be seen that how many people are actually hungry or how many people are being provided the food. So basically the Poshan Abhiyan, okay, it has become a successful because of the integration of the technology, because of the integration of the people. So this is something that has been talked about, that the Poshan Abhiyan, it is successful. Then guys, understand this particular thing. After that, next it has been provided that the Jal Jeevan Mission, it has also been able to make a lot of big impact, and it is making India malnutrition free. Is it clear or not? Now, after that, one more thing that has been provided is that the month of September has been decided that it will be celebrated as a Poshan Mah. Poshan Mah means a nutrition month. In this Poshan Mah nutrition month, specific focus will be made to provide the food availability of food, in order to increase the awareness into the mothers, in order to increase the awareness into the people, that what role does the food plays in the cognitive health and into the physical health. So Poshan Ma is being celebrated this particular month of September. The next thing is that basically the Prime Minister has given certain examples, that there are certain programs going on throughout the country which are good case studies. So guys, these are the good case studies that we can use in our answers. So case study number 1, he had talked about the project Sampurn. Now this project Sampurn is going on in Assam. In this project Sampurn, what happens? The mother of a healthy child will meet the mother of a malnourished child every week at the Anganwadi center. Okay, and the mother of the healthy child will be giving some information to the mother of a malnourished child, that how she has been able to take care of herself. So at this Sampurn projects, in the project Sampurn, the mothers will be meeting. Then the next is Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand. What they have done, they have used the songs and the games as a tool for ending the malnutrition. Now, how the songs and the games have been used? So through the songs, through the games, people have been given information about the nutrition, about the good quality food, the role the good quality food plays in the physical and the cognitive health. So this is something that has happened. Moreover guys, India has also given the proposal to the United Nation that the 2023 needs to be celebrated as the International Year of Millets. Now guys, India has a lot of diversity of millets, and when we talk about the millets has been a very much important source of food. Even the millets, they have been called as the superfoods. The millet have been called as the superfoods. Clear? Now guys, when we talk about the millets, there is a lot of diversity of millets in India. Okay, just a minute. So there is a lot of diversity of the millets in India. Now understand this particular thing, that millets are also the poor people's friend. Millets are also the poor people's friend. Okay, we have pearl millet, we have kodu, we have sorghum, we have many such varieties. Now these International Year of Millets have been is being celebrated, and guys, the Prime Minister had said that the coarse grains, that these millets, they are the part of our agriculture, our culture. They are the part of our agriculture, culture and civilization. We need to focus on these millets also. Fine. Then the next thing that has been provided is that basically the example of a village in Arunachal Pradesh, Jorsing village of Arunachal Pradesh has been given. Now this particular Jorsing village, now it is receiving the 4G connectivity. Now it has been provided that India has been very much successful in achieving the internet connectivity, digital connectivity, because in the villages of Arunachal Pradesh also we are able to provide this 4G. So IT revolution truly has come in India. So these are all the guys, the references that have been made into the Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat address. Now these particular references you can use specifically in your answers while you are writing some of a point. There, in order to substantiate your point, you can give the reference from the Prime Minister's address. So that is all about this particular article. And now guys, we'll move to the next article. Okay. Kaziranga Wildlife Rehab Center completes 20 years. Now this particular article could be important for the prelims examination. This article will be important for the prelims examination. Plus this particular article will be important for GS paper number 3, Environment, Ecology and Conservation. Environment, Ecology and the Conservation. Now let's just discuss. So basically guys, when we talk about the Kaziranga National Park is situated in Assam. Okay, so Kaziranga National Park is situated into the Assam. There is a Kaziranga National Park, as well as there is also the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. So we have the Kaziranga National Park, we have the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. Now around this particular premises of the Kaziranga National Park and Kaziranga Tiger Reserve, there is this Center for Wildlife Rehabilitation and Conservation. Now this Center for Wildlife Rehabilitation and Conservation has completed its 20 years. Now what this particular center is all about, very important. This particular center, it is about, it aims to provide the emergency care treatment and rehabilitation to indigenous wild animals displaced due to various reasons. Is it clear or not? Now basically what has happened, for example guys, there is the man and animal conflict that happened. Now in the man and animal conflict, what happened, let's say that some animal got injured. Now that particular animal is to be treated, that animal is to be treated, that animal is to be then rehabilitated, and that animal is then to be reintroduced into the wild. So basically this center for this center for wildlife rehabilitation and conservation, it is focusing on rehabilitation of these wild animals from last 20 years. Now this particular project, it is a kind of a initiative between the Assam Forest Department, along with that Assam Forest Department there is the Wildlife Trust of India, and along with that there is International Fund for Animal Welfare. Clear? So guys, these are the three organizations which are running this particular thing. Okay, again we'll see what it is. It's the Assam Forest Department, it is Wildlife Trust of India, and the International Fund for Animal Welfare. They have initiated this particular project. And guys, basically this particular center has been a very good example that how civil societies, government, they can work together and can bring the science so that the better rehabilitation of the animals can be done and the welfare of the animals can be provided. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that India being a welfareist nation, we are not only concerned about the well-being of the humans, but also we are concerned about the well-being of the animals. And in that particular capacity, this initiative is a very important, a very good initiative. Is it clear or not? Now moreover, understand this one particular thing also, that this particular thing can also be given as an example. Okay, and on this particular line a full-fledged question can also be asked. Fine, moving on now to the next article. US warship sails through Taiwan Strait. US warship sails through Taiwan Straits. Okay, now basically guys, in the past there is one particular issue that has come in the news. What happened recently, the US House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi, by the way this particular article will be important for GS paper number 2 international issues. So recently what happened, Nancy Pelosi visited the Taiwan, and after she visited the Taiwan, there was a lot of controversy that developed in this particular direction. Okay, now it has been provided that after this particular thing, the China became very much frustrated, and China carried the targeted military attacks around the Taiwan Straits. Is it clear or not? Now it has been provided that in this direction again the US warship has sailed in this particular Taiwan Strait. Let's understand this particular entire issue from the scratch. Now first of all, when we talk about the Taiwan Strait, this Taiwan Strait, which is a narrow water body between the China and between the Taiwan, it has been a source of contention between the China and the Taiwan way back from 1949. So guys, understand this particular thing, that before the 1949 in the China there are the two different groups which were fighting. Okay, so there were the communists, and then there was the, just a minute, there was a communist, and then there was other faction of the government, okay, which was majorly backed by the countries such as the USA. Now what happened, the communist faction which was fighting into the China, it emerged victorious and it came into the power into the mainland China, that is the People's Republic of China, and the other faction, it got defeated, and that particular faction reached to the Taiwan in 1949, and the Taiwan region, they declared it as an independent country. Now guys, understand this particular thing, there is one China principle that comes in between. What is this one China principle? As per this one China principle, the mainland China provides this particular thing, that they are the China, and Taiwan, they say that it is the part of the mainland China only, and one day they will reunite this particular Taiwan with the mainland China. Is it clear or not? And China has also provided this particular thing, that the countries cannot make the independent diplomatic relation with the Taiwan. If any country will make the independent diplomatic relation with the Taiwan, then that country cannot make the relation with the China. So this is something that has happened. So either you can make the relation with Taiwan or you can make the relation with the China. This is something that is happening. Okay. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that because of this particular thing, even when the USA is concerned, USA has no formal diplomatic relation with the Taiwan. Even India don't have any diplomatic relation with the Taiwan. Till 2008, we have even said that yes, we believe also into the one China principle, but after 2008, we don't repeat it. Though we maintain cultural relation with the Taiwan, but no diplomatic relation with the Taiwan. Now understand this particular thing, that guys, recently what happened, as the Nancy Pelosi came to the Taiwan, China saw this particular thing as the violation of the one China principle of China, and this particular thing has been criticized. After that, the China carried many of the military attacks into the Taiwan Strait, around the Taiwan, and now guys, in this particular direction, the USA, what has done, USA has also retaliated. USA has sent two of its warships into the Taiwan Strait. So basically, two of the USS warship, that is the USS Chancellor Weil and the USS Antietam, they have transcended, they have passed from the Taiwan Strait waters. USA have deliberately done that particular thing. USA have done deliberately this particular thing in order to assert the freedom of navigation of seas. So this particular thing has been done. Now basically guys, when we talk about the Taiwan, okay, Taiwan says that the People's Republic of China has never ruled this particular island, and Taiwan says that we are an independent country. People's Republic of China, that is the mainland of China, they have never ruled it, but the mainland China says that no, Taiwan is not an independent country, we will reunite the Taiwan with the China at one day. This is something that has happened. Now why the USA had basically sent these ships into the Taiwan Strait? Because guys, USA says that there needs to be the free and open Indo-Pacific region, and in order to ensure the free and open Indo-Pacific region, just to exert that particular symbolism, what has happened, China has sent these particular two ships. Now guys, understand that when we talk about this Taiwan relation, there are certain terminologies that come. I'll write these terminologies and I'll explain you this particular terminology. Number one, there is strategic ambiguity. Then the second one is strategic clarity. Then the third one is studied silence. Okay, now strategic ambiguity. Basically guys, the strategic ambiguity was the policy of the USA with respect to the Taiwan. It is the policy of the USA with respect to the Taiwan. So basically, the USA never said that we support one China policy, never they said that we reject one China policy. So USA was very much ambiguous. Fine. Then there come the strategic clarity. Now the strategic clarity was a change. That came with the coming of the Donald Trump. Now the Donald Trump, when he came in the power, what he did, he came out with the Taiwan Relation Act and many such kind of legislations, and under that they directly started to engage with the Taiwan. And now what has happened, Nancy Pelosi, the USA's House Speaker, she has visited the Taiwan. So they are coming out with the strategic clarity that we recognize Taiwan as an independent country. Why they are doing this particular thing? Because they want to confront China. And then the third is the studied silence. Now studied silence, basically guys, if you see India till 2008, India basically upholded the one China principle, but after 2008 India is neither supporting it nor it is rejecting. India is silent. Whenever you ask about this particular thing, India is silent. Even when recently the Nancy Pelosi visited, India stayed silent, said nothing. So basically India is following this particular studied silence. Now one question comes that why after 2008 India is not openly promoting this one China principle? It's because guys, after 2008 what had happened, many a times China had not respected one India principle. For example, China issued the stapled visa to the citizens of the Arunachal Pradesh. China said that Arunachal Pradesh belongs to China. So if China is not respecting the one India principle, why India will respect the one China principle? So since 2008 we have not supported one China principle, but at the same time we have not went against that also. So guys, this is the entire issue, and beyond this you don't need to go and see even a single word. Fine. If any question will come on this line, okay, that is more than sufficient. Now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so there are no article. This was in fact the last article. Okay, so that is all guys about it. Okay, so there's one question that has come. I'll clear this particular question. So Mahima has asked a question. Okay, sir, UPSC has launched the OTR platform. please inform us about the OTR platform. So guys, basically what is this OTR platform? OTR platform, it is a one-time registration facility. OTR, it is one-time registration facility that has been launched by the UPSC. Now basically what is happening now, guys, suppose you have to fill a UPSC form. Your personal information is there, for example your name, your date of birth, and all these personal credentials, your father's name, mother's name, their information are there. Now every time you are filling a form, sometimes you are filling the CSE form, sometimes you are filling some other vacancy of the UPSC. Every time you have to type these informations new. Now in this OTR facility, once you have used your personal information, it will be saved for future references also. So more than or 70 to 75% of your fields will be auto-filled by using this your information saved into the OTR. So this is OTR facility that has been announced by now by the UPSC. So that is all about the OTR. I hope you have understood it. So guys, that is all about the today's newspaper analysis, and with this we come to an end. And guys, if you're liking the video, please do hit a like button. Please do leave the comments. Okay, show a little bit of compassion in this line. Okay, why you are being so much of hesitant? Okay, anyhow, chalo. So that is all for the today, and now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much. Okay, and guys, please download the PDF and please do revise all these things. Thank you so much.